Right guys, today we're going to go through the standard shad trace, something that's very popular here in South Africa. Shad trace consisting of standard shad hook of your choice, but in this case we've used a long shank, a small section of steel to prevent the bite off from the shad, a float, you can use the neoprene floats like this, the neoprene corks or even a natural cork, then a length of line tied to a swivel, and that obviously goes onto your main trace. Now just before we get on to the actual making of the trace guys, shad as we know it, or elk in some areas of South Africa, are bread and butter fish. All around the world, shad, tailor, bluefish caught in great numbers. Sadly in South Africa, due to overfishing, our stocks have dropped recently. If we all make sure that we stick to the limits, which is 4 shad a day, 30 centimeters minimum size, and a closed season from the 1st September to the end of October, we'll make sure that our shad numbers grow back and we can all enjoy this once abundant fish. Enjoy the tutorial. Right, to build a basic shad trace, or a bung trace as we like to call it, you're going to need a few things. First of all, some leader line. 0.7, 0.75 is more than enough. A float, can be a red cork float, synthetic float, we quite like these little neoprene type balls. You need some steel coated, nylon coated or carbon coated wire. Up to 40 pound is more than enough. A swivel, and then a hook. The hook is up to the angler's choice. Some guys like the long shank, some guys put a double hook on, whatever your hook preference is. And of course you need a lighter. It doesn't have to be a springbok lighter. But let's get the hook on first. Okay, so to put the hook onto the steel, we're going to use the half Flemish and a steel twist knot. So to get that done, you put the steel through the eye of the hook, you bring it around, back through the eye of the hook, and then basically you want to put it back through again so that you're forming a half Flemish loop. Now normally I have a nail hammered into my workbench or a hook on my tackle box, where I then secure that hook while I tie the rest of the twist. Here we're just going to clamp it down with a pair of pliers just to hold it in place. You're going to pull that nice and tight, and all you're going to do is start twisting the steel. So you're taking your steel strand and you wrap it nice and tight. About 6, 7, 8 coils will do fine. You coil that by hand nice and tight around the steel till it gets to about over there. Grab your side cutter and I'll just show you what it looks like. There you can see the knot coming through. With the steel now we're just going to pull it nice and tight, and we're going to crip off this end here. Okay, so now we have a hook on there with a half Flemish and the steel strand twisted around. You'll see that hook is nice and free now. It actually hangs independently from the steel itself. With that now, what you can do is just take a pair of pliers, just flatten down that half Flemish so that it clips nicely around the hook. Take your lighter and just burn the plastic ever so slightly, a little bit more, just so that the plastic coil melts, secures your twist and secures your hook. Okay, so that's quite simple. We're almost finished with the steel. You're going to cut yourself off a length of steel, something about that long, just to make sure that the shad's teeth don't actually come and interfere with the nylon, and leaves you enough to tie the second part of the knot. From there now, you're putting on your float. Okay, and that's going to run up and down. Okay, the next thing you want to do is take a length of leader line and join that onto your steel. And this steel, as I said, is only long enough to prevent the elf or the shad's teeth from biting your nylon. Now to complete the knot on the steel, very simply, you just tie an overhand knot into your steel. Don't pull that tight yet, you're going to come back to that. Take your nylon leader, and from the back of the knot, come in and go through the loop and down the shaft. And onto here now, we're going to tie any knot. Some guys prefer a figure 8, some guys will do a clinch knot. Here I'm just going to very simply tie a 3-turn figure 8. 3-turn figure 8, because I find the 2-turn often slips. So here I'm tying a 3-turn figure 8 onto this. Just open that up, and there you can see the figure 8 starting to form on the steel. And we're going to just pull that tight, and as we pull it tight you can close up the steel here, and as we pull the figure 8 tight you'll see it'll lock into the steel. We're going to give that a bit more of a pull. This is commonly known as the no-name knot for steel, but I've caught plenty of sharks on this knot. It's never failed me. and I'm pretty sure that a shad's not going to pull it loose. Alright, so there we have it. There's your hook, secured on with a Flemish and twist knot, and then the steel section is tied onto a nylon using the, again, the no-name knot with a figure 8. You can make this more or less about 1 meter long. Some guys have different preferences. I fish it 1 meter long. So if we come back to the top, we snip off the nylon, and we're going to tie a swivel onto that section. The swivel now you're obviously going to tie onto your trace, whether it's a running trace, fixed trace, up to the angler himself. And here I'm simply going to tie this on with a clinch knot. I'm using 0.75, so I like doing a 4-turn clinch knot on 0.75. If I'm using lighter lines, then I go to a 5-turn clinch knot. Using your teeth is part of the game. And there we have constructed now a standard shad trace.
Don't stop recording.